Keegan, you're up next. As someone who is beginning to train with Seth Rollins at Black and Brave next year, what do you think should be the key thing I work on besides moves? Keegan, awesome, man. He said, which happens to be what a lot of talent solely work on nowadays. So he's about to begin, like I said here, training with Seth Rollins at this Black and Brave Academy. What would you suggest, Kurt, that he should work on besides moves?
Okay, bumping properly. You have to get that done right away. That's your first thing you need to worry about so that you stay safe, so you don't get injured. You have to learn how to bump properly. Once you get that out of the way, the next thing is selling. Selling is what sells tickets. That's what pay-per-view buys. That's what occurs. That's how you get the business moving. And you learn how to sell the proper way. If you do that, those two things right there to begin with, you're going to be A-okay if you continue on. And then you work on your move set and everything else and your character. But the first two things is bumping and selling.
So it's really how do you react to taking moves, bumping, selling? Yeah, yes. That's the key. It's not giving them. It's how you act taking them and how you fall, how you sell, and the facials.
When I started wrestling, when I started my first 2 weeks, I didn't do one offensive move. Yeah. I let them pick me up and slam me, and I would bump and I would sell. I learned that first before I started having more doing offense, and that's why I learned so quickly.
You know, it was cool. I was at a Dynamite show a few weeks ago, and I was sitting by Derek Sabato. Derek and I went together, who writes helps research
Great
for
writer,
our show. Yeah, he's fantastic. I love Derek, and it was he has a lot of experience in the wrestling industry. He's been a referee, but he was commenting on things as I was watching the match, and it was just different listening to someone who knows the business so well. And he was like, wow, this person's really giving it up so much to this other wrestler, or wow, look at the facials. They're really doing a good job with their facials. And it's like, man, I'm watching this a little bit differently. Just listen to him comment on it. Right. And
why? Because he's a mega fan. He's a student of the game.
That's right.
Yeah. And he studies it left and right, up and down.
Yeah. So, those are some things, though, to think about if you're getting in the business that, the facials, those are things that are you making the right faces at the right time and playing to the audience? It's all that stuff.
Exactly. That's one of the most important things. Yes.
All right. Good stuff. James Chad Simpson. So he goes by Chad. He said, Kurt, I recently watched Unforgiven 2001 again. On the heels of 9/11 as an Olympic hero, did WWF management ever talk about changing your role to a more serious character? And did you feel additional pressure being the American hero?
No, I didn't feel additional pressure being the American hero. It was 9/11 and the country needed a shot in their arm. And I was their Olympic hero. I was the USA guy. And I was going to win the championship from Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was set up for that. That was the reason why I won the title in the first place. But what was the first question that you asked me?
He was just asking if they ever considered changing your role to a more serious character.
Well, when I was a babyface against Stone Cold Steve Austin, I was pretty serious. Yeah. Beforehand, when I was a heel, I was, doing all the goofy, funny stuff. And afterward, I did a little bit more of that. But when I was wrestling Stone Cold, I was pretty serious. So I'm not sure if they didn't realize that or if they wanted me to become serious from here on in, from after I wrestled Stone Cold to the future. And I don't know if that's what they meant.
So no pressure for you being the American hero. I mean, you think about it too. You were kind of an American hero for all of us in 1996 on your way to the gold medal.
Yeah, I got to do it over again.
You know what I mean? Great. This is a different way.
Honestly, that was my favorite moment in WWE, that wrestling moment. I mean, my favorite moment was the milk truck incident. When I doused everybody with milk. But the wrestling moment was beating Stone Cold for the world title right after 9/11. That was awesome.
Man, that's big time, man. So cool. Ben Reynolds is up next. He said, who is the wrestler that, and if you forget context, interference, etc., Kurt's character would consider his worst loss by pinfall or submission? For example, like The Rock, he lost to the Hurricane. Is there a wrestler that you look back and, man, I cannot believe I lost to that guy?
Well, you know what? He was actually a really good wrestler. His character was a little bit odd, but I would say Eugene.
Oh, that's right.
It was great because he was so entertaining, very, very funny. He was playing a special needs kid, and he did it really well. And, losing to a special needs kid, it's not that there's no shame in losing to special needs kids, but it was kind of, a little bit odd that I had to do the job for him. And I ended up redeeming myself and beating him at the pay-per-view. But you know, him beating me, I remember Nick when I started wrestling.
Yeah.
And, he was training also, and so he was a really good wrestler. So you know, I knew him as a person before he did Eugene. So I respected him enough that doing a job for him was no problem.
What did you think of him doing that whole character at the time?
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely loved it. Every time he went out there, I was up, looking at the screen, watching like a fan.
Yeah.
I enjoyed everything he did. He made it look so real.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.